Robocar startup Glydways is in talks to raise $250 million in a new funding round that could push it to unicorn status. The Sam Altman-backed company is pitching a future of pod-like vehicles that provide on-demand rides on dedicated expressways. Joining us now is the founder and co-CEO Mark Seeger. Great to have you here in the Tokyo studio.
Good morning. Thank you.
So you're in a very capital-intensive development stage right now. What are you planning to do with it?
Well, the fundraise that you're referring to is really a reflection of the momentum we're seeing in the business. This year, we're launching 4 customer-funded pilots, and next year, we're launching our first commercial systems around the world.
How viable is your technology right now, especially as opposed to, say, open-ended, on-the-road autonomous vehicles?
That's a great question. So open road robotaxis that we see a lot in the United States and certainly in China, I mean, they're really exploding there. To us, those are AV 1.0 because, Shery, an autonomous vehicle stuck in traffic is just a car stuck in traffic. And if you deploy hundreds or even thousands of autonomous vehicles, robotaxis, on congested streets, you're just going to make congestion worse. What we think is that autonomous vehicles, AV 1.0, are just a stepping stone to putting those vehicles on purpose-built flow networks. And that's what Glydways does. We build flow networks. We're a new mobility system that is designed around continuous movement instead of traffic. And so you don't stop, you don't transfer, you don't sit in congestion, you go directly to where you want to go. And because Glydways is built as a network rather than a collection of vehicles, we deliver far greater throughput capacity at a fraction of the cost. And that's why cities around the world are deploying it.
And you're talking about cities, especially metropolis. Is that why you're here in Japan? I know that you have a lot of Japanese partners as well.
We do. We're in Japan, and we're in the Middle East, and in South Asia, and in India, and various other places, because the through line around the different markets around the world is that people are realizing, not just cities, private developers, airports, we have lots of different kinds of customers, they're all realizing the same thing, and that is that trying to manage traffic is a losing battle. Our mobility systems today, whether they're subways, buses, or cars, are all based on the concept of interruption. Well, that's not going to work. We need something that scales infinitely, and that's what a flow network is. Now, Japan is very special for us. Japan is a market not only where people understand first principles thinking here and system design thinking, but some of our most important strategic partners are in Japan too. Let me give you one example. Suzuki. Suzuki is an incredible company. They're over 100 years old. They have more engineering and manufacturing acumen than a company like ours will ever have. So they're not just part of our scale plan. They're core to our strategic execution globally. And that's why we're in Japan. Now let's talk about the Middle East for a second. The Middle East is all about ambition. The governing philosophy in the Middle East is leapfrogging. They don't ask the question, how can I manage traffic? They ask the question, how can I leapfrog traffic altogether? And so the same through line is what we're seeing all over the world, in the United States as well, and in parts of India.
Do you have a target in terms of how many cars you're targeting to manufacture per year or per project with Suzuki?
We don't actually have a target because we don't think about it as individual vehicles. We're providing a flow network, and a flow network is a system. When you're thinking about AV 1.0, that's a question of how many vehicles are out there. But when you think about flow networks, AV 2.0, the winners are not the people who build the vehicles. The winners are those who control the networks. And we provide the network layer. That's how we think about ourselves. And so we care about how many people can we move quickly and help decongest streets. You know, one of the things that we've learned and that we can all relate to is that traffic is a quiet filter. It's kind of a repressant on human potential. And we want to relieve that. And the best way to relieve that is to provide better access to mobility, because for that, you get better access to economic opportunity. And that thought, that fundamental mission statement that we have, aligns very well with cities and private developers whose mandates are congestion relief and, of course, emissions relief.
You touched on the Middle East as another key market, and I know that you've just wrapped up a trip there. Given the ongoing geopolitical uncertainties, the uncertainty of the war, can I get a bit of insight in terms of what sort of investor sentiment, what risk appetite felt like while you were there?
Certainly. It was quite extraordinary. If I can take a step back, what we're seeing in the Middle East right now, and what I saw over my trip during the last 2 weeks there, is frankly business as usual. Ambition is extremely high. They're trying to remove roadblocks, no pun intended, to getting our product out there. We're launching our first trial there in September this year. So things are moving along, and they're pushing us to move as fast as we can.
What do you see as being the major competition? I know China is obviously one of them. Are there sort of lessons learned when it comes to that market, which is in a lot of ways quite a pioneer market for a lot of this new technology, right? Do you think there are things that have been achieved in that market that can be replicated, or similar types of momentum be achieved in other markets?
What's happening in China is extraordinary. I mean, autonomous vehicles and electric vehicles are indeed exploding. But I think we have to take a step back, which is that the autonomous vehicle is an extraordinary piece of equipment. It's an amazing, revolutionary new technology. And if I may, the example I like to think of is the internet, which when it was invented some 30 or so years ago was a revolutionary technology. But like robotaxis, when you try to take a revolutionary technology and fit it onto an existing infrastructure, an existing roadway built for human riders, and the internet at that time was fit onto copper wires built for human voice, you constrain it. You really have to think bigger. You have to take this revolutionary technology and put it on something new that really releases the full potential of an autonomous vehicle, a robotaxi, which is one of experience, so you don't have to sit in congestion, one of capacity, you have to move more people in less space, and of course one of economics. So in the same way the internet was unconstrained when it was moved from copper wires built for voice to, let's say, fiber optic, autonomous vehicles really are the stepping stone to AV 2.0, where you take those vehicles and you orchestrate them very carefully on a dedicated flow network. And that's what our customers around the world, which are both cities and private developers and airports, big and small, are starting to see. And we're trying to catch up to demand.
How challenging are the regulatory hurdles, especially between jurisdictions?
That's such a great question. For us, because we're eliminating the, let's call it the infinity problem of guessing what a human driver is going to do, or a bicyclist, or a pedestrian who's maybe going to cross the road or maybe going to get into their car, an autonomous vehicle, AV 1.0, has to account for all of that. And so the regulatory framework is really tough. For us, we find that regulatory frameworks are actually an enabler because we eliminate most of those uncertainties. We have dedicated lanes and nobody can walk on them. And so for us, we find that our regulatory frameworks align to the mandates that cities have when we talk about cities as a customer, which are, again, reducing traffic and reducing emissions.
Mark Seeger, really good to have you here, and our Tokyo studio founder and co-CEO of Glydways. We have more ahead. This is Bloomberg.